Your homework from last night, this one, I apologize. Just because I like math and I think I'm good at math doesn't mean I'm always good at math. I totally forgot we were adding fractions, so I multiplied them. That's why I couldn't figure out where the 13 was coming from. But if you subtract a fraction from a whole number, that's where the 13 comes from. So make sure, though, that you have the correct answer. If you had 5/7, it's fine. It's not a big deal. But that's the situation. Like I said, I like math. Doesn't mean I'm great at it. All right, today we are going to be focusing on simplifying expressions, combining like terms, and distributive property. With distributive property, when you are distributing anything in, you are doing what operation with it? Raise your hand. What operation do you do when you distribute numbers inside of your parentheses? Multiplication. All right, so multiply each term outside the parentheses by the number inside the parentheses. Be careful with your sign when multiplying positives and negatives. Come on now. I'm not playing this game with you. Y'all will notice that, yeah, technology and I have not changed. Still doesn't work for me. The hardest part about distributive property to me for 8th grade is just remembering you're multiplying a negative, positive, or negative, negative, what happens, that rule. So, example of both of these. You always keep the operation inside the parentheses. That tells you what you're doing. Okay, so if there's a plus, you're ultimately going to be adding. If there's a minus, you're ultimately going to be subtracting. Stop. So when you distribute, you multiply. So the number on the outside is multiplied by those numbers on the inside. So here, when I multiply, what do I do? For the first one, so it's A times B plus C. So when I want to distribute this A in, what do I do? What does the little arrow mean? Multiply. So I'm essentially going to do A times B. Am I adding or subtracting? And how do you know? How do you know I'm going to add or how do you know I'm going to subtract? Jeffrey? Right, because there's an addition sign in the middle. Inside your parentheses, there's an addition sign. So I'm going to put a plus. And then for the next one, I'm going to do A times C. All right, so the only difference between this example and this example is what? What's the only difference? Here? Right. So A times B minus A times C. All right, we're gonna read the scenario for the pictures of the candy, and then we're gonna do A, B, and C together. So it says, at a candy shop, a group of friends bought a lollipop, 2 candy bracelets, and 3 gummy worms. Each individual purchase can be represented by the pictures inside the parentheses below. So A, it says what number should go outside the parentheses. So what number do you guys think goes outside of the parentheses that's around the candy? Soraya.
3.
Why?
Because there's 3 people and you're splitting it between different.
Right, because it tells us right there it's a group of 3 friends. And then it says write an expression under each picture to represent the item. So for the lollipop, let's just put an L. For the bracelet, put a B. And for the worms, put a W. Now, we could even go a step further, and do we need to put a 1 in front of the L? Raise your hand. Do we need to put a 1 in front of this L right here? Why not? Right. If you have a letter and there's no number in front of it, the imaginary, or invisible, not imaginary, the invisible number is 1. All right, how many bracelets do we have? 2. How many gummy worms do we have? 3. So we're going to write our expression first. What number goes on the outside of our parentheses? Raise your hand. Nevaeh. 3. Then we put inside the parentheses L plus 2B plus 3W. Does everybody understand why? Is there anybody who doesn't understand? All right, so I'm going to distribute this 3 into each one of these. So this becomes 3 times L. Am I adding or subtracting? It's going to be a long day, y'all. Am I adding or subtracting? Adding. I'm adding because there's only plus signs right here. Then I'm going to do 3 times 2B. I'm going to add, and then I'm going to do 3 times 3W. Again, does everybody understand why? Anybody not understand? All right, from here, I want you guys to simplify that. So I want you essentially to get rid of those parentheses. Stand up when you have your answer. Remember, guys, these are notes, so you're writing what I'm writing, regardless if you feel like you need it or not. All right, so go ahead and someone raise your hand and tell me what this simplified expression would be for this one. Thank you, Noah, for volunteering.
3L plus 6B plus 9W.
Okay, so now we're going to do a couple together. You're going to do a couple on your own, and we'll see how that goes. So looking at 1 through 3, it says apply the distributive property to simplify each expression. You're distributing those in, and yes, you have to write all of your steps. Now I have a question about this one. Ben, put that away, please. I have a question about this one. Why did I not bring my negative in with my 9? Why did I not bring the negative in with the 9 right here? Jeffrey? Because there's parentheses. What do you mean?
Because.
Not sure? Okay. Braden?
Using it as an symbol, like to make the symbol for the problem.
Okay, so I have a question. If this problem originally looked like this, would I then include, I guess there should be an extra parenthesis right there. Would I then include the negative inside? Okay, so because it's not technically a negative 9, it's just subtract 9. That is why you don't bring it in. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. All right, and then from here, what is 8 times 2? 16. So we do 16G, and what is 8 times 9? 72, and I just put my subtraction there. Okay? All right, the next one. You have negative 5 times 13D plus negative 5 times 11. Why did I keep the negative with that 5? Say it nice and loud.
Because it's outside of the parentheses.
It's outside that parentheses and it's with that negative 5. Or it's with that 5. So it starts with that, it stays with it. All right. Solve this and then stand up for me. And that is a 13, not a B. I'm sorry. Again, these are notes, guys, so I'd really appreciate it if you were writing everything that was being written. Oh, why I thought about this, I don't know. But Audrey and Ariana, you guys are exempt from homework for the rest of this week and all of next week, and you'll get some candy tomorrow because you are the only two who had your parents sign up for my Remind. I actually found 5 of those papers in my classroom.
Oh.
So, thank you, and thank you. You guys don't have any homework for the next essentially week and a half. No, I
wasn't here.
I don't care. You should have asked, right? I don't care. You were on vacation and didn't bring me nothing. I ain't trying to talk to you. So, those of you who still have your paper, I highly recommend if you would like something sweet to eat tomorrow, bring it in. If you would like to go outside tomorrow, or not bring it in, sorry, get your parents to sign up. Remind, please. If you need a paper, I have a few extras. Now, we ain't doing it right now. We'll do it later. Children, I swear. All right, so I'm assuming those that are sitting down are just so exhaustedly tired that they cannot stand up. All right, what is negative 5 times 13? What is it? Is it 65? No, it's not 65.
Negative 65.
Negative 65. Jeez. All right, and then, so I'm not going to put my operation yet. What is negative 5 times 11? Ariana? So why do we not do the plus there? Like, why doesn't the plus come down? So think about it. So like right now, it told us to add here, right? There's an addition sign here. Why did I not put a plus there? Could I have put a plus there? I can put a plus there. There's no point because you're still going to do minus 55 because it's a negative 55. Okay?
But is it still right if you put the plus?
Yeah, as long as you have the negative 55. It's just an extra step that you don't really need to do. Like if you wanted, you could write it as negative 65D plus negative 55. Okay? All right, the last one. You have -4 times -m and minus 8. So -4 times -m minus -4 times 8. Guys, we are doing notes. These are your notes. Therefore, if I am writing something, what are you doing? I don't care if you want to or not. These are notes. Alright, so what is -4 times -m? -4 times -m. Sebastian.
What?
I'm not laughing. Alright, and then, sorry, let me put it down there. I apologize. So this next one, what is -4 times 8? -32.
Wait. Oh, I thought negative. I remember that was negative.
Hold on. That is not your answer right there, though. That's not right. Why is that not right? Audrey? Nope. Has to do with your negatives. Your negative and your minus. The correct answer for this one is 4m plus, or negative, sorry. Negative, no. 4m plus 32. Hey, look over here. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. All right, so the next one, it says draw a line connecting each expression on the top row with its simplified expression on the bottom row. So you are doing this with your shoulder partner. All right, not your group members, with your shoulder partners. Stand up when you are finished.
We're doing 5, 6, and 7.
No, just 4. Just 4, guys. This should not take us very long. We should get this done fairly quickly. like I said, over there, I was always taught, like, when you do parentheses, you do it. So like, this would be, like, this one, right here, would be negative 1 times. Well, this one is not. That'd be 4x minus. No, because there's no negative on the top. So that would be 4 times 2, which is 8x, 4 times negative 3, which is minus 2. But you have an arrow going.
Oh, I messed up.
Alright guys, so when you distribute all of this in, originally up here I talked about not carrying the negative in. You have to carry that negative, whether it's outside, whether it's inside. So ultimately, this example up here, and this is from the answer key, this is not from Miss Kinney, because the way I was taught is you, like if you have a negative here, it stays with that number. Does that make sense? So like this would become 4 times negative 3 inside your parentheses. The answer key does not have that, but I disagree with the answer key, so I'm gonna do what I do. So you have 4 times 2x, which gives you what? 8x plus 12, or 4 times 3? 12. All right, so this one goes there. So far, so good? All right, the next one. We have 4 times 2x, which gives us, this is 8x. Now, you're going to do 4 times negative 3. What does that give us? Negative 12. That one goes there. Make sense? So, again, this one down here, 4 times 2x minus 4 times negative 3. Carry that negative with that number. Yes? Yes? So if there's a negative right here, the negative goes with that number. Okay? So if there is a negative inside the parentheses, or a minus sign, not a negative, let me rephrase my words. If there's a minus sign inside the parentheses, it stays with that number. So like this one, you have negative 4 times 2x. What do you get? What's negative 4 times 2? Negative 8. And then negative 4 times 3 gives you what? Well, what's negative 4 times 3? There's a lot of question marks today. All right. So this one will go there, and then this one becomes negative 4 times 2x minus negative 4 times negative 3. So this last one gives you what?
Negative 8x plus 12.
All right, Sebastian, go back. I'm so tired of talking over you. This is the last day you're going to be in my class. Do you understand me? If you do not, nobody else is having a problem paying attention, being on task. If sitting there is going to be a problem, you got to move. All right. So we're going to slide over to the top 5, 6, and 7. Number 5, you have this negative right here. So based off of what I just showed you, when you distribute in your negative 8, you have negative 8 times 4y minus negative 8 times negative 5. Okay? Solve that. Thumbs up when you have it. So thumbs up when you have this problem solved.
Do I? The -5 is that what's part of it?
Technically, yes. So like that answer is right, but it should be -8 times -5. And that's why it's a positive. Because it's a negative times a negative.
Yeah, so if it's inside here, I keep it with the numbers with. Okay. Yeah.
Alright, let's go ahead and go over these. Or this one, sorry. Alright, -8 times 4. What does that give you? Raise your hand. -8 times 4. Audrey. -32. I'm going to add my y. -8 times -5. +40. Okay? You are doing 6 and 7. Stand up when you're done. I mean, if you want to, but think of that as half of 6 and half of 10. So distribute that in. And you're multiplying 12.5 times 3. And whatever that equals. Don't have an hour, you gotta do it somewhere else on your case. If you're standing, what are you not doing? Okay. It's cool because when we go reverse, you're gonna be like, I don't know what you're talking about, Miss Kenny, because I didn't copy the notes down right to begin with, Miss Kenny. All right, let's go ahead and go over this. So you distribute in your 12.5. Now, if you do not have enough room, I'm not asking you to do a ton of work for these two, because for the most part, we should be able to do some of this in our head, but I do want to see this. I want to at least see the parentheses, okay? When you do 12 and a half times 3, what do you get? 37 and a half plus, what is 12 and a half times 2? 25W. All right, this next one. Keeping things as simple as possible because math is already complicated enough. We do not need to make it harder. What is half of 6? So 3M. And then what is half of 10? Plus 5. All right. You and a partner are finishing 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Now, listen. You need to bring me your paper. I will check it. If you do not have this written on your paper, I'm going to hand it right back to you. Okay? You have to get these correct. I'll wait. Pencils are down. You have to get these correct, and you have to show your work. And that doesn't mean showing that if you don't have to. What I mean by showing your work is putting your parentheses, showing me that you are doing distributive property. All right? Showing me that you know how. That's what this lesson is about. This lesson is not about your ability to multiply. This lesson is not about your ability to add or subtract. This is your ability to distribute a number in correctly. So yes, I am making you show this step right here. If you do not, you are not getting your, well, I'm actually going to collect your homework, just kidding. You're not going to get your homework, I'm going to take it back. But yes, this is what you're doing for the remainder of the class period, okay? Any questions? You can work around the room. You do not have to stay at the table. You can find a different place, whatever you need to do. If you do not want to work with anybody, you do not have to. That is also an option. I'd prefer if you did, but if you don't want to, that is fine. Go ahead and get started.